It's December 26, 2009, day after Christmas. I'm going to use my new Flip video camera to give you a walking tour of the garden. It's winter, so there's not a whole lot to show here, but it will give you an overview of the garden. Okay, so we're starting out in the older section of the garden. This has been in existence since 2006. And let me take you over here. This is the bed that had the potatoes in it, or at least most of the potatoes, in the 2009 garden. Right now, it is in a winter cover crop, a green manure crop of crimson clover. And let's go up close here, if I can do this without making you seasick. And you can see that we had a very hard frost and freeze overnight. Everything is pretty well frozen solid today. The ground is rock hard. Excuse me. In the next bed over here is the cranberry plants. These are young plants that are hopefully going to produce more this coming year, since they'll be in their second full year. They're doing okay, they're just young. Over here we have the compost piles and the strawberry beds. In about another month I'm going to be back trimming up the vegetation out of the strawberries so that I can add compost and fertilizer. These are two very good beds though. They've been producing really well for me. This bed here has our root crops, parsnips and carrots, and also some January King cabbages, and the Brussels sprouts are back there, although the Brussels sprouts are just about done for the year. Over here we have two more beds that one is completely empty and the other has kale in it. And then the vertical grow bed, this is the older of the two, and you can see my support structures. The bed on this is 2 feet wide. It's narrower than all the other grow beds, and the reason for that is it makes it so much easier to reach across and pick things that are growing up on the vertical grow structures. I found that 4 feet wide is just too hard to reach across. This is the kale. It is looking a little tough right now because it had a pretty hard freeze last night again. But this is an amazing plant. They just grow right back, and as soon as we get a bit of a thaw, they'll be bounced back and harvestable, and it's just amazing stuff. Right next to it is the bed of Brussels sprouts. These have been producing all fall, and we just ate some about 2 nights ago. However, they're pretty well done for the year. There's still Brussels sprouts on the plants, but it's getting down to a bare minimum. And as soon as the ground unthaws just a bit, I'll be taking these out, chopping them up with an axe, and composting them. And again, you can see we do have some here that are available for harvesting before I do the final pull on those. Back towards the back of the garden there are several beds. These are empty at this point, other than I've got on this bed some crimson clover growing in the front. The retaining wall bed, this is new for us this year. We added it midsummer basically, and the idea behind this bed is that we brought up the backside here, elevated it, so that we made an area that was very sloped into a usable growing area. This has been a nice addition. We put the corn in this bed last year, and right now it's got mostly the alliums in it. I've got regular garlic, I've got elephant garlic, and you can see the garlic plants coming up. Here's some of the elephant garlic. And then over on this side, I've got some Walla Walla seedlings. They're hard to see. Let's see, there's one right there. And I'm not sure if these are going to make it or not. We've had such a severe fall, lots of cold freezes that we normally don't get. I'm not sure if these are going to overwinter well. If they don't, I'll pull them up or start over and put new seedlings in the spring. I also have some multiplier onions in this bed. You see them there. These are a great onion crop to have. They overwinter, produce great green onions when everything else is still a few months away from being harvestable. The main thing is just to remember to keep enough of the bulbs separated out so you have next year's seed stock. I also have in this bed some sets that I planted, onion sets, and they're coming up. And again, those are so that I can have some green onions before everything else is really ready in the regular onion crop. Now turning around and facing the very back of the garden, this is the, well, it's a bed that I have some perennial crops in. You probably are a little bit hard to see here, but we've got what look like a bunch of twigs at the moment. These are the bush pie cherries. They were new last year and got a lot of good growth on them. We should have a harvestable crop from them this year, so I'm kind of excited to see how those produce for me. This bed also has the rhubarb, and you can see the crowns. They're of course dormant at this point in time. Right next to this bed is the asparagus patch, and I have to tell you, I'm just really not very happy with how this asparagus patch has been producing. Not sure if it's the location or if I'm maybe need to change up the fertilizing regimen, but I'm going to do some things with it this year to give it one more chance, and if it doesn't really work out well, I'm likely going to end up starting over. I'm just not really happy with how this has been producing. Okay, so let's go to the greenhouse, and we're on the back side of it here. The greenhouse is unheated. You'll notice though I do have a cord going into it, and the cord is for the fan, which is necessary because we live in such a humid area that we get lots of damping off diseases and problems if you don't do things to manage humidity. Starting in the corner here, we've got Swiss chard. It's looking a little bit small at the moment because I've actually harvested fairly recently. We have a little bit of lettuce, not a lot. Had a lot of freezing of late, and that seemed to take down a lot of plants. And then I've got 2 half whiskey barrels that have got corn salad growing in it, and it is up and germinated and on its way, but it's a very slow growing green. Probably about February or March before we'll really start enjoying that. Just about the time that we'll be really hungry for some fresh greens. In these 2 containers, I've got some onion sets that I planted, and you can see some of them are up. Again, this is really just to provide some additional onion options during the early months of the year when nothing else is producing. That's pretty much it in the greenhouse right now. We're not really too busy in here until probably about February, when I start moving things out of the shop that have been growing under lights out into containers out here to grow on.